Hey, it's me, your boyfriend slash girlfriend slash dayfriend, favorite content creator. And we're going to talk a little bit today about credibility. Now, that's a word that's probably been thrown around a billion times in the most recent months, considering the fact that, we have been spiraling in this doom cycle of just misinformation after misinformation after misinformation, right? And I think it's really important to clarify what credibility actually is. Yesterday, or maybe the day before, I'm not really sure, I was online and I saw a discussion talking about video game. And then I saw a conversation where someone was trying to show a little more nuance to that. And the response they got was, these journalists slash YouTubers are incentivized to lie to you. Now, I cannot speak for journalists. I'm not a professional journalist. I am known in the industry. But if we were to look at this logically, who's actually more incentivized to lie to you? Who doesn't give a shit about their credibility on the whole? A journalist who needs to be credible so they can get their stuff published to live? Or a YouTuber who, by the nature of the platform they use, are incentivized to get as many views as quickly as possible? I'll give you a little peek under the hood. I recently made it into the YouTube partner program. Claps all around. I know, thank you. Being part of that program lets you know shit like, hey, this is how much revenue you're generating from this video. And you look at like CPM, right? And like RPM, and you look at the ad rates, and you start to understand that these people are indeed highly incentivized to either get a bunch of views, meet the threshold to enter the program, and then continue grifting, or already are in the program and realize that this is a gold mine and they can continuously put out misinformation after misinformation. They have a vested interest in that. Journalists aren't paid by like the word or how many times people go to a page and view their specific article. The website gets paid by a myriad of different ways, but mostly like traffic, ad revenue. But again, it's not as if they put out an article and then the website gets all of the revenue and they get all of that revenue, right? It's not how it works. But as YouTubers, we take home a much larger percentage of the revenue than a journalist would. Journalists don't get paid like that. They get paid by the company unless they're under contracts. And even then, like, they're still getting paid through a company. They're not getting paid per view. I want that to be very clear, because when we talk about credibility, you have to look at the people telling you these things. Are they incentivized to lie to you, to sensationalize things in order to get the most eyeballs? Case in point, here's a video clip from Indemon TV, basically lying to his audience about the insider information they gleaned from Ubisoft.
It's a big maybe, but they said that they weren't sure of it yet. They also told me they heard rumblings that Sweet Baby Inc. may have had a hand in Shadows, but they can't confirm that 100% yet, so take that allegation with a huge big fat shot of skepticism right now, okay? But like I was saying, the game did first include a male Japanese main character, but they were swapped sometime during 2020, according to my source for Yasuke instead. So this is where stuff gets really weird and pandering, but I asked them what influenced Ubisoft to make the change that they did from the original Japanese male character to now Yasuke. They said that Ubisoft was heavily influenced by the socio-political events of the time, with stuff like, and no I'm not kidding, George Floyd dying, the riots, and Black Lives Matter exploding in support. So don't shoot the messenger here, but this is what I was told by this source, but Ubisoft may have opted to include Yasuke in order to pander to identity politics because of Black Lives Matter. I know, it's a hell of a statement. Again, they said they cannot confirm 100%, but they did say that they have seen the original Japanese hero character, and that they were actually mortified when they saw Yasuke for the first time in the game. Apparently, one of the videos that Ubisoft was showing of Yasuke originally, and no I'm not kidding you, was Yasuke destroying a grocery store property with his weapons in order to show the game's physics engine. But the source said that they couldn't believe how tone-deaf Ubisoft was, considering they were literally showing a black guy in a foreign country destroying property.
Now, if you notice a thread here, every time he made a claim, he said, oh, my source can't confirm that. If your source cannot confirm that. If you are an actual journalist, you would not publish it. You could talk about an opinion piece, say it's a rumor going around, but if you're talking to sources and they're not credible and reliable, you can't publish that, because now whatever blowback you receive is 100% on you. You cannot blame your source. It's strange that the source who has such insider information can't even fucking confirm if they actually swapped out Yasuke. Like, they can't. They can make up stories and say that, oh yeah, we saw this footage and I was mortified when I saw Yasuke was in it and they were trying to capitalize on Black Lives Matter. Are you fucking serious? They're trying to capitalize on the George Floyd murder by putting Yasuke in the game. How would that make sense? Why would black people give a shit? Mind you, black Americans, people like us, right? Why would we care about a game that most people, for a large percentage of people, don't care about? People are, should let me rephrase that. People who are talking about Black Lives Matter and focusing on the injustices happening in our country to black people and black people all over the world don't give a shit if you put a black person in a video game. They don't. It doesn't matter. You couldn't capitalize on something that happened at this point 4 years ago. What is this, like the Emoji Movie? Like, no, that's not how you capitalize on things. If anything, they would have put out like another Assassin's Creed small game DLC. Maybe they would have put it out like Mirage style and had a black person in there. It would take place in modern day. It'd be like more like Watch Dogs. Like Watch Dogs 2 is more apt to use than Assassin's Creed Shadows. But I really want to talk about the fact that they were trying to highlight that, oh my God, Ubisoft was so tone deaf. We're having a black person in a foreign country causing destruction. Is there any footage of Ubisoft having another game called, I don't know, Freedom Cry, starring a man from Trinidad in a foreign country causing destruction? Do we have that clip? We do? Oh shit, roll that clip. Weird how then that didn't cause any sort of uproar. But now that Yasuke, a real person who existed, who was in fact a samurai, no matter how many times you try to deny that fact, if you worked under Nobunaga during the Sengoku period and he gave you his swords to fucking hold and you had like a tithe in land, you were a samurai. You were one of his fighters. You were samurai. Famously, he broke the system by allowing people who were peasants to become samurai, okay? So you were samurai. You're saying that using a historical figure was motivated by Black Lives Matter, yet you have no evidence of that. Your source cannot provide you concrete evidence of literally anything, nothing at all. This is basically saying your uncle at Nintendo told you this, and we're supposed to take your word for it. Credibility. This YouTuber has zero credibility. If you look at their content, I wouldn't suggest that you do unless you're an insane person like me. Look at their content. There is nothing that they say is credible. I also went to that one website they always love to use, right? And even they're talking about how, yeah, he said that they're gonna get rid of the rap music. They're gonna get rid of the rap music, use it for Sasuke. Now, here's the thing, not rap. Just because there's a beat to it doesn't make it rap and hip hop.
Not while I have breath in my lungs and a blade in my head. I said kill him.
Secondly, it is very common for video games to have trailers that use music that would not be found in the game to hype up the game, right? It's hype trailers. There's music you get in many video games that you will not see, just like in movies. You know, there's movies that do this. Trailers exist to get you hyped. It's not necessarily reflective of every single thing that's gonna be in the game. But I digress. There are people like him on the internet, griftubers, who are solely invested in making sure they can spread as much misinformation as possible because they do not care about credibility. What they want is to get the most views on the topic. That's why if you type in these games, Assassin's Creed, Dustborn, Concord, you will see a deluge of content creators just shit talking the game. without doing any sort of research, without doing any sort of nuance analysis or anything like that, because all they want is to get that SEO. That is it. What credibility does he have? He's a YouTuber, like what, 200,000 subscribers, which, listen, is impressive on YouTube. I don't have nearly as much, but a 200,000 subscriber YouTuber is getting inside information, but people who work for gaming magazines who have sources aren't relaying the same information. That should make you curious, right? Why would they go to him specifically? Even if you take grifters, whatever, why not go to like Asmongold, who has a ton more followers, more reach? Why wouldn't they go to the big dogs? Why wouldn't they leak this to a journalist who would get more views than this video would? Because these people just read news articles from other journalists. I do that too. I try to offer my own interpretation or break it down, but I do the same shit. I'm no different in that regard. But why would they go seek this person out? And isn't it coincidental how there was no discussion about this, and then the game gets delayed, and then suddenly, hey, an insider just came to me and told me all this stuff, all these things. Suddenly they told me this. They weren't telling me this the whole time. They just told me this right now. This is the information I just got right now. If you read the articles from Insider Gaming, like you're seeing on the screen right now, you would see that this has been going on for months, several months, in fact. So why would they wait until now to reach out to Endemon when they could have done that at any point? Any point. Do you see how this doesn't make sense, right? At least from a journalist perspective, they have to take time to accrue their sources, make sure it's correct, validify their information, right? They have to test their shit out. They have to corroborate. Same thing with going back to like Dr. Disrespect, why it took so long. A bunch of people had to work on that and get their information correct. When Jason Schreier broke those stories, he didn't wait a long time because it was more opportune. He waited because he had to make sure all his shit was correct. He has broken stories. Endemon has never broken a story. There are none of these grifter YouTubers who have broken stories. They just conveniently reveal that they have a source in high up companies, mind you, and their source is just now telling us information that is essentially already out, and they're just speculating. Had this video came out before that article, you would have maybe slightly more credibility, but it didn't, because it never would, because nothing they're saying is true. Well, I should rephrase that. They're gonna throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. If they remove the music from the game or change it up, okay, cool. But again, like I said earlier, that isn't an uncommon practice. Neither is having different characters for prototypes and then switching them out. So again, what they're doing is they're taking common things that happen in video games and then trying to attribute that to the stuff from their cultural lore. It's no longer, hey, this is a prototype and we actually want to settle on this. Or, you know, it'd be cool if we had this character, because they don't understand the creative process. They don't understand like storytelling. They don't understand gameplay or narrative opportunities. As someone who writes, you do not want to limit your creativity. If you are stuck with one thing on one person, that sucks. You can burn out quickly. But if you allow yourself, hey, we can go all out here because the next game or the next book or the next movie we put out can have different characters, different stories. That's fun and exciting. But these people don't create shit. They're not creative. They don't understand that. Everything's a conspiracy theory because they don't understand how shit works. You have people online talking about how game reviewers should upload entire unedited gameplay alongside their reviews. That doesn't make sense. Who has the time for that? What company would let that happen? What publisher would be like, yes, we want you, forget the embargo. We know we put all this information here, forget the embargo. Let's just put all of our information out right now. Fuck the embargo, right? Like, no company would do that. And what reviewer would have the time? Reviewers barely get time with the game as it is, depending on when they get the keys, when the deadline is, when the embargo date is, right? They have things to consider. Who the hell would tell them to upload full gameplay? Oh, but YouTubers do it. Again, YouTubers are not journalists. YouTubers do not have an editorial board that they have to abide by. They don't have these deadlines. All the deadlines are self-imposed. They don't have deadlines. They don't lose their job if they don't put out a review by X time. That's not how it works. Like, but again, this all comes back down to credibility. You have people with zero credibility talking as if they are authorities on the subject. You have people with as much information as the game as you do, making claims like, this is why this happened in this game. The developer went woke and this is why. They're getting funded by BlackRock. This, and this. And these are people who have never even been invited to an industry event. And they're sitting here telling you this is what's happening internally at this company that until 2 days ago, they didn't know existed. Credibility. These people are not credible. And if you don't want to believe me, you don't trust my credibility, that's fine. Maybe I have to earn that from you. But if you watch my previous stuff, I think you start to see a pattern that I do, at the very least, try to give a different perspective versus a media conspiracy theory. Watch their videos, see if how often the information they put out pans out, compare that to the dreaded journalists who put out information, see how much that pans out. Do your own research. That's a famous thing to say, right? Do your own research. See where the information is valid, see where it's not, and then compare how often that happens. You will find a large disparity between what they say and what happens. They told you that Baldur's Gate 3 was woke and garbage and trash. It was successful, they moved on. They told you that Space Marine 2 was trash because a trans person worked on it, and now they're saying it's a win for gamers because the CEO's based. These people are not consistent at all. They just want you to be mad, like I said in my other videos, and then they're just gonna move on to the next thing. They're trying to go back to Suicide Squad, a game that no one's talking about because they released a new character who is, according to them, a race-swapped version of Floyd Lawton's daughter, even though Floyd Lawton both in that game and in the movieverse has been a black person for a while now. But they're telling you it's a race swap. But there was already a race swap in the game, which they also were complaining about. If he's black, why would his daughter be a white woman? His blood daughter, why would she be a white woman? He's a black man. In this universe, he's black. But again, credibility doesn't mean shit to them. They want those views. So again, I want you guys to do your research. You can look into me. Look into all the people you're watching. Like, really look into them and see, hey, is this person a credible source? Isn't it weird how they wait to put their information out after a actual journalist put their information out? Isn't it strange how their sources can never confirm or deny anything? Isn't that not how a source works? Wouldn't they need multiple sources in order to corroborate the information? Like, I'm just saying, like, we gotta start calling game, you guys. Like, they're playing you. They are playing you and they are making money off of you. And if you get mad at companies making money off of you by nickel and diming you with DLC and whatnot, at least the company gives you a product. What are these people giving you? Misinformation to make you mad and look insane. They are so divorced from reality, I think their last name is Musk.